Hello, this is our first lesson for advanced students. As this is the first lesson for advanced students, I cannot speak Portuguese anymore because the purpose here is that you guys get to know some more expressions, get used to another person speaking English and practice it to the biggest limit possible. So I really hope you guys enjoy this advanced class. And if you are an advanced student, make sure you take the test that I have here in the comments. There's the link there so you can actually see if you are on an advanced level. All right. Remember that we also in NerdEnglish have a course specific for advanced students. You can study the C2 level with us. You only need to go to our Instagram or the link tree that is also in the description and ask for some informations. Okay? So let's start. In this first lesson, we are going to talk about conditionals. Okay, here I am, a small window. Well, let's start. Conditionals are something super important, and when we think about conditionals, the first thing that comes to our minds is if. So that's the first conditional. When you say something like, if I have time, I will go. If I have money, I will buy. That's present and future. That's super simple. And that is also the second conditional, where you have past and would. So if I had money, I would buy. If I had time, I would go. That is also very straightforward, right? Do you know this word? Straightforward? Straightforward is when something is obvious. Remember, you should have a vocabulary list, okay? So write those words down. Let's go to the third conditional. The third one, we have past perfect and a perfect conditional on the other side. So, if I had read the book, I would have learned better. Okay? It's the most complex one, but it's still on intermediate level. Okay? So, those are the basic three conditionals that we have. We're not going to talk about them. This is just a mere introduction. We are going to move on. We're going to see some more elegant, some more usual, if I may, forms of using conditionals. Okay? So, let's go on. Here it is. The first one that we have is, oh my God, no, come on. Okay. The first one that we have is would and will. So, Fernando, you already talked about would and you already talked about will. Yes, but we can have them in a conditional combined. And it's funny because some people, they don't know that and they think that it's super weird. So, we can have something like, if you would take a seat, the doctor will see you shortly. So this is something quite elegant. Somebody that is polite would probably speak like that. If you would take a seat. Em português would be something. Se você tiver a boa vontade, faça a boa vontade de sentar aí, ou você gostaria de sentar, né? It's a terrible translation to make. But we have, if you would take a seat, the doctor will see you shortly. If you would kindly, this is also very normal to say, take a seat, the doctor will see you shortly. And we can have will everywhere. Imagine that you are arguing with a person and you guys are deciding about cleaning up, and you can say, I will clean the house if you will clean the pool. So it's kind of a negotiation, right? And you can have will on both sides because both of you are going to perform actions in the future. In this first sentence, when I say, if you would take a seat, the doctor will see you shortly, is because I have no idea if you will take the seat or not. So that's why I use would. Like, você gostaria de sentar? Você sentaria aí to wait for the doctor? Okay, so that's the first out of the box conditional for now. Let's go to the next one. We also have providing, provided that, as, so long as. So these are quite interesting because, let me get my pen again, because normally you're going to use these fellas here. They are similar to if. Okay, let me put it here. Similar to if. Okay, they are emphatic forms. They emphasize, yes, a condition. So when you use all of them, it's because the condition needs to be made perfectly clear to those listening. So imagine that you have some students and they say something like, "Teacher, please tell us the answer." Then you may as well reply, "Provided that you finish the task in 3 minutes, I will give you the answer." Alright? So, you are respecting the rule of the conditional of having present and on the other side future. This is the first conditional, but you are making it a little more elegant and focusing a lot on the condition. So, provided that you finish the task in 3 minutes, I'll give you the answer. As long as it's very used in this. So, as long as you don't drink and drive, you will be fine. So, desde que você não bebe e dirija, you will be fine. Vai dar tudo certo. It's everything okay. So, that's another form of talking about conditionals in a more elegant manner, okay? More different, leaving if behind because it's so used, right? Let's go on. Let me clear it up. Okay, even if is awesome. Let me get my pen. Even if is nice because if you use even if, it's because you have, it's because you have an extreme condition. Okay, so imagine that you are having an argument and the person says, "You're a liar. You have never seen an UFO." And then you may look at this person and you say, "Well, it's true, even if you refuse to believe me." So, it's true, even if you refuse to believe me. Please give me some money, I'll pay you back. I can't give you any money, even if you swear you will pay, right? So, even if is always something kind of extreme, yeah? Imagine that somebody that you hate, they want a job really badly. So you could say something, "I won't give you a job, even if you come back here with 1,000 of roses asking me for forgiveness," right? Even if it's always something more extreme. Therefore, it's not a synonym of if, okay? Because if is something that is general, of general use, even if we're going to use in these very nice extreme situations, okay? Let's go on. Let me erase it. Unless is also awesome. Let me get my pen. Okay, so unless, people usually replace unless with something like if not. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend using unless as you would use except when. So, that will make unless clear on your head. You have this kind of situation that this is the only exception. Unless is the only exception. So you could come to me and say, I won't give him my car keys unless he stops drinking. So, I won't give him my car keys unless he stops drinking. You are respecting the first conditional as you have future and present, but unless is the limit, is the only situation where this person will get your car keys is if he stops drinking. Okay? Like, I won't give a waiter a tip unless I get excellent service, right? In the USA and in other countries, the waiters and waitresses, they don't get the 10%. You have to leave them a tip. So maybe you can be like that. Like, I will give a tip. I won't give a tip unless their service is excellent. All right? So here's another way. Therefore, not a substitute for if. Unless has its own idea, its own focus, which would be to introduce this characteristic that cannot be changed, right? Is the only exception. Let me go on. All right, supposing. Supposing is also awesome because suppose is very similar to Portuguese. You can already imagine, right? We're going to put suppose at the beginning of a sentence, okay? And we don't use it as a linking word. So you are not connecting sentences, all right? And you will have something that is a complete sentence with supposing, and then you have the expressing the condition, and then you have the other part of the sentence, okay? So let me give you an example. Supposing it rains tomorrow, what will you do? It's also very common in answers, right? So imagine that you have a friend and he says, I will get the car. And then you complete saying, supposing you can pick the lock. Right? Supondo que você consiga, né, quebrar ali a fechadura. Supposing that you can break that lock, pick the lock. So you have supposing alone. It's alone in the period. It's not a linking word. It's used at the beginning. You can also use suppose depending on the situation. All right. So suppose it rains tomorrow. You might also say it like that. Suppose it rains tomorrow. Supposing it rains tomorrow. Supposing you meet the famous person that you love the most. Who is it? Tell me in the comments, okay? Tell me what you would do. For example, I love James Hetfield from Metallica, and supposing I met James Hetfield, I would ask him to sign here on my arm, and I would tattoo it right here. Tell me in the comments what would you guys do, okay? Let's go on. All right, we have given that. Let me get my pen again. Given that is very nice, it's very elegant, and you may probably enjoy it. For example, given that, because give is something that is out there, okay? So given that is used when an information is already known. So if you have this information and this information is already public, is already something that is out there, given that is the guy for you, right? So you will have something like, given that this area is liable to flooding, it would be a bad idea to buy a house here. So, if it's very probable that there will be a flood in this area, why buy a house there? So, given that this area is liable to flooding, it would be a bad idea to buy a house here. Brazil is having recent problems because we are in a situation of hunger. Many people, they don't have what to eat. You could say something like, given that Brazilians are experiencing food insecurity, we should try to help them in every manner, in every way possible. Okay? Given that is when something is already known, it's already out there. Okay? Given that. Could you understand it? Please make sure to tell me in the comments when you can't understand. Okay? Let's go on. Let me erase it. Oh, these are my favorites, right? So, we are going to use both of them in third conditional. That's the best idea, okay? In the third conditional. For those that don't remember, is when we have past perfect plus would have and verb. So you have something like, if I had started saving in 2007, I would have become a millionaire. All right? This is the third conditional, okay? So when you have but for and you have without, they are synonyms, okay? It would be like, if it weren't for, something like that, okay? So you will have things like, but for his help, I would have never managed to survive. But for the money, I would have died right there. All right? So you can also use without, right? So without the money, I would have died right there. Okay? So these are more elegant, different forms of expressing a conditional. I hope that you guys have enjoyed, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the last slide. Let me check. It is. So here we have some questions, okay? So I'll answer just number 1, and you guys can answer number 2 and 3 in the comments, or send me on the Telegram group or on WhatsApp. There is everything in my link tree. So we have, there should be no problem in arranging that loan for you unless you will fail to meet our terms and conditions. So remember that provided establishes something. So provided that you meet our terms and conditions, there should be no problem in arranging that loan for you. Okay? Try to do that with those two here and tell me the answer as soon as you can. Okay? So, this was our first encounter for advanced students. My screen's kind of freezing. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Remember that we have a campaign on Catarse and on PICPAY. You can help us there, contributing with 5 reais or more. There are rewards there for those who want to contribute with more. They get some bonuses. Please check it out. The links are all in the description. And also, tell me if you enjoyed the class, okay? See you next week. Bye-bye.